All right. Greetings and welcome back. Once again, I pray everybody's doing well. I know it's a little bit late this evening, but it's all good. We're going to get into this real quickly, but let me go ahead and run the intro. Let me see. All right. Greetings and welcome back once again. It's a little bit late on a Sunday, but you don't know. I'm glad for soon. Welcome to the conversation. This is Amuna, and I pray everybody is doing well. I'm Ardis. Welcome to the conversation. I got caught up into some other things, but me say, you know what? Start the week off right. So let me go ahead and get into this Marcus. Also, because it was bugging me, I couldn't find what I had read, but what I did find, oh yes, I said what I did find. Fever, welcome to the conversation. I think we're gonna enjoy it as a little follow up. You hear my voice is a little low and raspy, but we're gonna deal with it. You don't know, and it's not gonna be too long. So buckle up. So last time we checked in. No, it's me. I've been using my voice a lot today. But last time we checked in, Marcus sight a young Amy Garvey. Well, she's not Garvey at the time. And he's vibing her, Amy Ashwood, right? And he want there with her, right? So we're gonna pick up on the part. And the last time I read that her father came from Panama. Good evening, good morning, and afternoon to wherever you may be. Her father came from Panama, and he told her, "Yo, we going back." But before we get there, we got to read another account of the way Marcus was making sure that in Pirong Panit, he was making sure that his jubi did not slip out of his hands. So this is coming from Negro with a hat. Oh, my voice sounds so. Look like me need some tea. Hold on there. Cause now voice sound little lowish. All right, make us see what I want. So, what's that with there? Negro with a hat, right? On page 60. We're going to read that and then we're going to read who is the mystery man. Who is the mystery man? It says here, Mrs. Ashwood, that is, no, I was talking. Usually I tried not to talk too much, but I was talking today and well, they don't know. Miss Ashwood can't, though Miss Ashwood, speaking of Amy's mother, have failed to notice the trilling in her daughter's voice when she stepped out into Garvey's company. So she was excited, you know? It says here, a mutual appreciation of intellect was daily blossoming into an amorous attachment, which was all the more apparent for their attempts to hide it. Like, oh, y'all got meeting, huh? Maud's resolve to separate the paramours was more than matched by her daughter's ingenuity in circumventing the restrictions. When Amy was locked in her room and banned from attending UNIA meetings, she schemed with the maid to swap places with her while she slipped out through the bedroom window. So again, there is an unpublished, I think there's two of them that they're getting this from, right? So she has sneak out for God meeting. The rules worked well enough for a while until one evening, as Amy spoke from the platform of a UNIA event at Collegiate Hall, she looked up to see a frowning Maud in the audience. Maud would keep her own counsel no longer and immediately sent a telegram to her husband in Panama. So the last thing we read was that she called for the husband. That was in the other book. Now I forgot to send for some tea. Hold on there. Pause. Me feel my voice. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna send for some tea. I will be right back. I'm gonna play this. Oh no, just hold on. Get a little drink and some tea. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna send for some tea. All right. Thank you for your patience. I had to make a special request. I'm back. I'm back. Hit the like button. Yeah, I'm gonna squeeze some lime in the tea and we're good to go. But all right, so this one is telling us that her mother sent for her father in Panama because, you know what I mean, them young girl are going with things. She had a sneak up, Ghana, you and I in meeting. Okay. So it says here, Maud would keep her own counsel, took no longer, and immediately sent a telegram to her husband in Panama City. Alarmed by the reports coming out of Kingston and suspicious of Garvey's intention towards his now 18-year-old daughter, Michael Ashwood was soon on the high seas, rushing back to Jamaica. In the baker and restaurateur's estimation, the young Marcus was not ostensibly a man of great prospects. Remember, Marcus already, his father had money, but he ain't got money no more, right? His mother is no longer amongst him, and we don't know what's going on with his sister. So they're like, this is not the guy, Amy. This is not the guy, right? Page 61. So it says here, Mr. Ashwood had something better in mind for Amy than a suitor who, despite his growing stature, presently eked out a living selling greeting and condolence cards. Who knew? I mean, an honest living is an honest living. That's probably where he got, I don't know, but I didn't know that Sir Marcus was selling greeting and condolence cards. Did y'all know that? Thank you. May I drink? You see that sound better? Mm-hmm. Drink some warm water. Yeah. So this is the first generation to this degree. Their daughter finally got into a high school that accepts, Brownings. People a little, we already went through that, how she got educated. And now here comes Mr. Greeting card and condolence cards. And her mother's like, no, not upon my watch. You understand? It says here, a large stock had recently been shipped over from Britain. It goes on to say, when that expertise proved less than enterprise, Garvey had tried his hands at selling monumental tombstones. When you will sell buckle stopper, them say, listen, Mark Garvey, he's a hustler. He over here selling greeting cards, condolence cards, tombstones. He's hustling. He got to do what he got to do. But Amy's mother is like, not on my watch, buddy. Not on my watch. Okay? Amy would not retreat. No retreat, no surrender. She would not give up her Napoleon, nor he his Josephine. Them dedicated to this Josephine and Napoleon situation. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. They are dedicated to this Josephine and Napoleon narrative. Okay? She would not give up on her Napoleon, nor he his Josephine, Romeo and Juliet. Her father's protest served only to fan the flames of the romance. And in 1915, Amy Ashwood and Marcus Garvey was secretly engaged. So remember, we read about this engagement, but I was there consumed trying to find out what I was looking for. And I go skip over the thing. I said, I have to come back. Good evening. Welcome to those who have just joined us. Cynthia, welcome. All right. So we did read about the breaking up with him and the Spanish Iris, right? We read about that. So let's jump down now, page 61. As Amy Ashwood was to recall, theirs was a partnership steeped in the movement. There was no separation between love and labor. I think I read this, so that a hand-holding moonlit stroll by the bay was immediately followed by more pressing business of planning the running order of speeches for the next UNIA meeting. I don't think I did get that part at all. Your Napoleon is longing to see you. Longing to gaze into your beautiful eyes. Garvey wrote breathlessly, only to continue on a more sober note with, let no mother, no father, no sister, no brother stand in the way of the redemption of Africa. Africa unite. Garvey. Okay. Good evening. Garvey is putting chat to Amy. He said, now watch your mother. Now watch your father. Now make nobody broke we up. I me and you. Okay. It goes on to say, he might give our lyrics in between him back to Africa talk. Leah, welcome to the conversation, right? He's longing to gaze into our beautiful eyes. Remember I read the Black Woman poem? He may have written that for her. I could be wrong because he uses the same line. You hear him, Nona? He says, let no mother, father, sister, nor brother stand in the way of the redemption of Africa. I will always worship, he says, at your shrine. If we can remember correctly, like a few weeks ago, I read Garvey's poem, The Black Woman, right? And he had a line in there. Let me go find a line. He had the worship at your shrine line, which makes me wonder, who did you write this for, Garvey? Garvey's relationship with Amy was intense and passionate and occasionally melodramatic, you think? He loved in the grand manner, wrote Ashwood, and was soon urging me to announce our engagement openly. Under pressure. Him a pressure the young girl. I'm sorry, Jane. I know it's early in the morning in the UK. I know. I came on late today. My apologies. Hopefully you get some sleep and tune in the morning. It is 2:30 in the UK. Shout out to the UK massive. Don't worry yourself. Next time I come on earlier. Shout out to the Caribbean massive. The US massive is still a little late, but not so late. You know? So let's continue. It says here, he loved in the grand manner. So, and then he's pressuring her. So, yeah, I gotta tell the people them say we're engaged. Because you want to pin on it, you want to lock down young girl now, It says, I took the precaution of only wearing the ring when my mother was out of sight. That's a quote from Amy Garvey. No, secret engagement. Only weeks later, Amy decided that the relationship was too intense and problematic and decided to suspend their engagement. Like, man, this not gonna work, you're too passionate. Remember we read when she first saw him, she could see the burning in his eyes and in his heart. All of that burning, when it went to the other side, she's like, bro, this is too much. And she's January people, right? So, it's only but so much heat up you could take. according to if Rita was over here saying this one was Leo and this one was Capricorn, according to Rita, with our where Bob was again, Aquarius and Leo, right? Let's continue. I'm sorry, that's a little shall feel the pressure. I chose man in my pressure the young girl. It says here, so she broke it off. I wonder how that went. Like, boy, you know I can't do this. Returning home, I discovered a note from Garvey. He poured out such a torrent of feeling that my youthful sensibilities were almost overwhelmed. Imagine that the Dear Amy letter there. At the end of the letter, Garvey warned that he was going to hurt himself. Okay? This is what she say. By throwing himself into the sea, quote unquote. Garvey. When I read that, I said, I can't be reading right. Sir, if you'd, what is going on? What is going on? You have to control that fire. Ashwood hailed a taxi and rushed to the section of the beach where Marcus was accustomed to promenade. There he was, and I almost collapsed, she said, with relief at finding him on time. The engagement was renewed. Huh? So you're just a finer, just a getting a relationship. I want to see where that is from. And then I'm going to read from the Amy book. And you were so head over heels, according to Amy, because you know how people are, old people, when they tell their meeting story. I don't know if you've ever interviewed your parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, whoever, and they tell you how they met. Everybody got a different story. One person's story, yes, the person did love me off and they wouldn't leave me alone. And the other person's story, not never got so. So you got to take it kind of with a grain of salt, because in doing this work, and you see that people's stories are vastly different. But according to this, the Ashwood papers 70 through 72 is where the author got that from. I don't know where to get those papers, but thank you for bringing them to us. If Garvey was on them levels, what in the world? What we do know, he has from childhood and over a mother who's maybe, coddling him to a certain degree, and a father who was just not present, and some rejection early on. Did this trigger him? Possibly. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the Amy book now. My voice are clear up because I'm going to have to drink some warm water. I'm going to the Amy book now, because remember, I promised a mystery man. And so we don't make false promise inside here. We're trying not to promise, you see. So, to what we're understanding, her father comes, and in 1915, depending on who you ask, she left. Okay? We read before that Amy thought he was madly in love with her, and that I'm reading back the next book. And she ended up broke up with him. So we're going to go forward now. So this is the Amy Ashwood Garvey book, page 32. Page 32. Panama Love and New York Marriage. So we're going to move this conversation. That was Jamaica. That was Jamaica, right? So she gone. And in 1916, if I'm not mistaken, he also leaves. He also leaves. Yes, Marcus left. Let's start there. Marcus left for New York in March 1916. Amy says she preceded him to Panama. Correctly, it seems, although she contradictorily claimed to have left Jamaica that summer. The Gleaner gave her a date of departure of January 29, 1916. So both of them left. I will stand corrected. They left in 1916. It says here, we're going to go forward now to chapter 3. Alan Cumberpatch, new man enter the chat. Man named Alan Cumberpatch was born in 1880 in a little village near Spicetown, Barbados. Bejan's in the chat now. Is Bejan's in the chat now, A family containing 9 children, the Cumberpatches were typical of thousands of Caribbean people of the period. They were not wealthy, but they possessed a good educational foundation and were ambitious. Their ambition made them impatient with the limited opportunities for advancement afforded African descendants in small colonized islands. So again, this group that's born here, and I have a my great grandparents are born in this time. The Marcus Garvey group, they started getting antsy. They're like, yo, we not sit down in a no key and feel. We not sit down and turn no little small walk. We want to go see the world. So this is the group that got the level of education, and they started to venture out, whether it be Panama, America, South America, England. They started to leave. It says, like the many thousands of their fellow Barbadians who immigrated to droves in Panama, Trinidad, British Guiana, the United States, Liberia, and elsewhere, the Cumberpatches were not averse to traveling in search of opportunity. So that was one of the migrations before the windward migration and people coming to America, people going to England, people going to Canada. Really? Artist says Cumberpatch is my husband's background. Uh-oh. Where you say? You know about Cumberpatch? Let's continue. This is going to get interesting. One brother became a master tailor. Another studied building construction at the Royal Victoria Institute in Port of Spain. Alan became an apprentice tailor and found employment at the Glendin's, one of Port of Spain's major department stores. He and his close friend and fellow tailor, Henry Israel Jeffers, an immigrant from Montserrat, often discussed their common desire to break up out of the tailoring world. Like, fire on this. I don't want no tailoring and no cutting no clothes. I want to left here. But they're from Trinidad, so they wouldn't be having a Jamaican accent. But yeah, we could continue. It says, when new regulations made it possible for local persons to take externally the solicitor's examination administered in England, Jeffers seized the opportunity and went to become one of Trinidad's most successful lawyers. Alan Patch decided to try Panama. Alan traveled to Panama alone to assess the opportunities that this new Mecca for Caribbean immigration offered. It seemed to offer possibilities, and so one of his older brothers joined him there. Another brother elected to remain in Trinidad. So Cumberpatch said, listen, I'm going, and he sent back word, and two more come. Panama was not an instant success, but the brothers worked hard. They may have begun as peddlers, but before long were able to establish a tailoring shop on the Canal Zone. Later, they received a concession to supply clothes to the Americans, who were in charge of the canal construction. And the Panama Canal situation, when I started looking up the paperwork, the stuff that people talk about the gold roll and silver roll, they had segregation there. It was a whole lot of stuff going on there, but a lot of people came from Barbados and a lot of people came from Jamaica. That Bajan Jamaican link up, a lot of that happened in Panama. Let's continue. I wish I had now. Later, they received a concession to supply. Let me read that already. Their business also spread to include a laundering establishment. Like Amy Ashwood's father, the Cumberpatches were now a part of the immigration business element in Panama. A third brother joined them, and the Cumberpatch extended family became well known. I saw you do it, So Alan come in at the place and said, listen, when I come here for play. Okay. Let's see here. Alan Cumberpatch has been described by his great niece as the, quote, grand bachelor, end quote. He was a fastidious dresser in shop, and what with his silk ties, diamond pins, and many suits, he established a well-deserved reputation for elegance. At his death in 1975, at the age of 95, he still owned 30 suits. Alan Cumberpatch was also urban and talented and played the piano beautifully. He never married. So the man sharp. As the youth them said today, the man had drip. All right? The man had drip. The man was a tailor. Okay? All right. Cumberpatch. Hey, look now, the author spend the last 5 paragraphs I tell me about Cumberpatch, so we must know who the mystery man might be. All right. Alan Cumberpatch. All right, me don't say that already. Cumberpatch was at least 36 years old in 1916. 36, Remember, Amy, when Amy born, Amy is late teen, going towards 20. And when Amy Ashwood arrived in Panama, Leah said, no pictures? I don't know. I have to go look. I didn't look at a Cumberpatch to see if he have no picture. It says here, what's happening there? It says, when Amy Ashwood arrived in Panama, but with 2 years of UNIA activity added to her pre-UNI precocity, she was talented, sophisticated, and worldly wise beyond her 19 years. Amy claimed in her sworn affidavit, when we get to this affidavit thing, it go crazy because everybody are talking this sworn affidavit. So Amy claimed now that she met Alan in Panama City sometime during 1918. He was, she asserted, partly untruthful. Sorry, she was. No, pause. He was, she asserted, partly untruthful, an unmarried young man about my own age. So she claimed, say, Cumberpatch tell lie, say she and him was the same age. Alan, she said, moved in the best circles of society. He was attracted by Amy's accomplishments. She, in turn, was attracted by the debonair bachelor, with his style, and punch. She found him quite different from Marcus. Oh gosh, what problems now, because the way them just describe Cumberpatch and the way them describe Marcus, I don't know where this is going. It says, she found him quite different from Marcus, who she often had to chide for his lack of attention to his personal appearance. Shots fired, bro. Why though? Where did you put this in the divorce paperwork, fam? The juxtaposing Cumberpatch with Marcus, who you did have to rags up. To say fix up yourself and iron your clothes before you come and ruin. What? You don't know about spray starch. Me not like where this I go, Me not like where this I go. But let me continue. Says, they were politically compatible. However, for the Cumberpatch brothers, they were politically compatible, however, for the Cumberpatch brothers helped start the UNIA in Panama. So, to recap before we continue. Yo, son. Amy meets Marcus. Okay? Him and Napoleon and she and Josephine. Them run headfirst into big relationship and engagement. Mother say, nothing I go so. Call father. Michael, come quick. That little short youth I try take away your daughter. So Michael, whoop, come on the boat now. Come cross. Say, that's it. Come home. We are go back to Panama. Unbeknownst to him take her to Panama right into the arms or the purview of Alan Cumberpatch. Let us continue. For those who just joined us, I bet you I didn't know Marcus Garvey's story so sweet. Yo, let's go. Let me get a look at the thing here. Yeah, don't style Mr. Honorable Marcus, this is allegedly. Okay. An intense love affair developed, rotted, between Amy and Alan. No, Amy, you're not engaged. Amy, Buana is funny. He said Amy was loyal. Or was it? I was like, oh, you trying to be facetious? How they had a relationship and Marcus was like, Amy, me and you shall never part. What's going on? Anyway, several other affairs with Garveyites and former Garveyites would follow over the years. Dang, writer of the book. Amy was later to say in 1958, sorry, that Alan Cumberpatch was the only man she really ever loved. Whoa, whoa. I'm trying to check that source. He put a source. I want to see what source that is. Hold on. Because that is like what? Let me check that source real quick. Because where are we going with this? So she goes, she leaves, and she, according to the narrative, oh snap, interview with Shirley Jones, 1979. Amy told this to Mrs. Jones in London. I'm gonna have to look up that one. Amy. But we'll continue. Marcus, meanwhile, was moving apace in the United States. 1 month after arriving in New York, he was already back in the city after a trip through several states, establishing contacts for a lecture tour. He worked for a short while and then set out on a journey that took him through 38 states by the spring of 1917. So according to this, Marcus, in my work, okay? And by 1918, the UNIA headquarters had officially shifted from Kingston to Harlem, and Marcus was on his way to greatness. Amy says that Marcus wrote her regularly for the first few months, and then his letters stopped abruptly. Because remember, they're saying let's just for context, because they're saying the Cumberpatch situation didn't pop off till 1918. But remember, she got there in 1916, according to the narrative. So according to this, something happens where Marcus is no longer writing. Does Amy think she's no longer in a relationship? Does she know what happens? We don't know. So it says, Amy says that Marcus wrote her regularly for the first few months, and then his letters stopped abruptly. She said in an unpublished manuscript, give me the manuscript. Somebody put the manuscript on the internet. When I hide it from? She said in an unpublished manuscript that one Mr. Parker, a friend of Garvey's in Panama, informed her during this period that Garvey was mourning her death. She interpreted this to mean that someone had misled Marcus to keep them apart. So there's some miscommunication early on between these two, and we know they didn't want them together, the family, and there's some miscommunication between these two, and according to the narrative, she thinks something wrong with him and he thinks something wrong with her. Let's continue. Boy. Spot me that on. In the affidavit of August 1920, however, Amy gave a somewhat different account of all of this. Amy, oh, your account them always a change. Here she said that she met Mr. Parker, a school teacher in Colin, Panama, in September 1918, on the day of her departure from Panama to the United States. Parker had heard from Garvey, who had inquired concerning her whereabouts. Amy obtained Marcus' address from Parker and called on him in New York on or about August 6, 1918. Marcus explained to Amy that he had devoted his entire life to the founding of the organization, quote unquote. He had wished to defer sending for her and her parents until he had achieved success, at which point he would marry her. When he finally thought he was ready to contact Amy, he had heard she was dead. Who got tell Marcus that Amy dead? Who would have done something like that? Who would have done such a thing? An underhanded thing. Marcus versus Amy Ashwood Garvey affidavit. We have to go read that, the affidavit there. Okay, let's continue. Two of Amy's Panama letters to Marcus have survived. They paint a picture of Amy and her family as indigent and chronically in search of financial help from Marcus. Huh? How they went indigent in 1 year when her father was doing business in Panama? I'm confused. Written in June 1917, they suggest a positive motive for Marcus's lack of response. Marcus was probably like, me not no money, so trying to write me. Father, give us this strength. Namely, an unwillingness or inability to meet Amy's financial requests at a time when he was exceptionally busy and himself at best in modest financial circumstances. So now we don't know why he stopped writing. Now they're trying to say it was because she write him for money and him good and not have none or want gear none, or because they say she did dead. We don't know. We don't know who would do this. In her letter on June 3rd, 1917 from Colon, Amy chided Marcus for his silence despite dozens of letters from her. So again, that 1918 when she meet up with Alan Cumberpatch, it may be after she think the relationship dissolved, right? So dozens of letters, she said. She did, however, acknowledge the receipt of a gift from him received 2 weeks earlier. She was now at 120 D Street at the corner of 8th, and she told him her father had written a week earlier from Florida, where he was in financial difficulty. Oh, the father laughed. Okay. She would have asked Marcus to help him out, but he had probably left for New York by now, and she did not know his current address. Amy herself had twice lost her belongings in a fire and appeared destitute and the S word, on the brink. She was not emotionally and mentally well. So why the father leave her in a Panama after him bring her from Jamaica? And which part her mother there? Anyway, for one to be burnt out and to be penniless is hell, quote unquote, she wrote. Death, she said, is such a case is the only, she's saying, welcome guest. So she's on the brink and she's not doing well in Panama, according to the reports. She wanted Marcus to bring her to New York, and the thought of relocating seemed to cheer her up. It would cost at least $200 to, quote, move me, end quote, to New York, she suggested. And $200 back then, a good little something. She needed to have 15 recently extracted teeth replaced. 15? Hear me? 15 teeth? I'm go 32 you have. She needed a, quote, coat suit, end quote, and a hat and high-heeled navy or black boots to match. Marcus is like, no, sir. Help me. I like the latest color in now, she added. It's called bronze. Send the corset with it and a pair of stockings. You understand me? Dang. She not asking, she telling him. And people is like, back in the day, women, da, 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 da. Why is she making a whole list? She also asked Marcus to send a black, quote, stiff silk, end quote, suit and a black hat with a white feather behind. She was specific. She knew exactly what she wanted. No, they're saying this is the surviving letter. There's 2 surviving letters, they said, from this correspondence, and in one of them, she got a whole wish list. Amy wished to be in New York by August 1917. She's writing this in June 1917, and she want to be there in a month's time. Plus, she want a whole new fit. She want a whole new wardrobe. But if Marcus sent the money right away, she figured she could be there by July. In order to avoid problems with immigration authorities, she advised Marcus to write her a letter pretending to be a married uncle inviting her to visit the United States. What kind of 90-day fiance mix-up is this? Let us continue. If y'all are enjoying the story, drop some hearts, some books, Some fire emojis. Let me know. Bawana says somebody's scamming. Let me know if you are enjoying this story because what? What? All right. Um, Amy. Anyway, exactly 1 week later, Amy wrote again, repeating her entreaties for assistance in getting to the United States. She was also involved in a problem with the police. Amy, this not look good, you know. One Ritty, a girl and possibly a ward of her family, was in jail. If not, Amy would be in trouble. In addition to the 15 recently extracted teeth, she had lost 5 more previously. Why is she losing so much teeth? All 20 needed to be replaced. Is she running game? Who loses that much teeth one time, son? Who lose that much teeth one time? Maybe I don't know. This time she wanted a black silk coat suit and a toque hat. She brought Marcus. How is she seeing this? There's no Instagram. There's no TikTok shop. You feel me? There's no Amazon. Where is she seeing all of this at? There's no Temu, fam. She brought Marcus up to date on her measurements. Bust 36, waist 26, hip 42, suit length 33. And me. Make sure y'all press like buttons on your way in. Share the video, like the video. I know it late. I not stay long. We have to go come back again. But right now, Amy is over here being a material girl. Okay? Material girl. Yo, Amy says she 36, 26, 42. Amy is Leah said Amy is stacked. Boana said nobody no lose that much teeth. For real. How she lose so much teeth one time? What are you eating? Anyway, I was rooting for you, Amy, but I don't know right now. You're giving me stress. Amy assured Marcus that her family would reimburse her, at least in part, though he had not given her a cent for the last year. Marcus, how you going to engage, girl? Talk about me and you should never part Maki Dada, right? Nobody come between us. And then you got her out there. I mean, she's ODing. Let's not make no mistake. If she wrote all of this, Amy, why? Amy, where? Amy, when? Okay? Anyway, let's continue. She again seemed depressed. And she, quote, she's sick of heart, she sighed. Ah, Marcus, I wonder if I shall ever be happy. I wonder if after so many years of worries and sorrows, that if she should ever be happy and if she would ever find peace. So Marcus is not the only one that's melodramatic. When Marcus is over there in Harlem on 125th, when he's over there on Lenox, when he over there standing on his soapbox, Amy over here, Amy over here with a wish list on Amazon. Why, Amy? Why? The FBI, in a 1944 memorandum, said that Amy eventually arrived in the United States on September the 3rd, 1918, and was in New York by October. Because I think I found her thing, and she didn't come into New York. I don't think she came into New York. She came into another port. If it says in her unpublished manuscript, Marcus Garvey, Prophet of Black Nationalism, Amy said she arrived in spring 1918. Amy, how you gonna arrive in spring in 1918 when June you over there telling them to send me money? In her 1920 affidavit, as already seen, she said she left Panama in September 1918. No day given, and got to New York on or about October 6th. Amy claims in her manuscript that she traveled at the behest of her father, who was doing business in Philadelphia. Thanks to the surviving manuscript of her ship, I think I saw that one, the SS General G.W. Goethals, it is now certain that Amy actually sailed from Cristobal, Canal Zone, and arrived in New York on October the 3rd, 1918. Irony of ironies. The General Goethals was later bought by the Garvey organization Black Cross Navigation and Training Company, successor to the earlier Black Star liner. That's interesting. The manifest confirms that Amy told immigration authorities of her intention of joining her father, Michael Ashwood, living at 2053 Bainbridge Street, Philadelphia. If she ever did get to Philadelphia, it must have been to tell her father hello and goodbye. For 3 days after arriving, she was in New York with Marcus. They tell us all about Mr. Allen, but they don't go into their full on relationship. But that was the mystery man that is said that she later says she was in love with. Okay? I'll see if I can find that interview. But if not, that's Amy, Marcus, and the mystery man. So 1918, she leaves, right? And now she's looking for her fiance. So we don't know to what degree their relationship, the mystery man, went to when it says that she was in love with him. We don't know because it didn't go into details. Let me know y'all thoughts because that was quite the entertaining chapter right there. I'm open up for just 2 seconds. See if anybody has anything to say on what they heard. That was a lot of information. I'm going to come to the comment section and see what's going on. She was in the club watching the latest fashion. Yeah, I don't think Amy didn't have no teeth. I mean, how Amy didn't have no teeth? I don't know. I don't know. There are interviews of her later, but I don't know how Amy said she lost all her teeth, but she want fashion. She want fashion. Yep. What are your thoughts on that? Marcus was selling greeting cards, condolence cards, tombstones. Their relationship got broke up because the mother was like, no, sirree. Amy goes. I don't know what happens to the mom. I have to go find out what happened to her mom. When she goes, and then the father ends up leaving her in Panama, and then her house got burnt down twice. And then Marcus is over there traipsing all over the U.S., and she's like trying to begging him to bring her to America. And then they do get married eventually. We're going to read that, but it's not. I guess a lot of this water that is under the bridge during the time that they were separated further exasperated whatever issues they had in the first place, right? And sometimes that happens in relationship. Marcus stirred up her emotion, but her free will. Yeah, there's a possibility. Somebody lying. I don't know who lying here. Somebody is not telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Shout out to those who have just joined us. I opened I don't know. Mystery Man, remember, Mystery Man has a successful business, a family business. His brothers are there. I don't know to what degree she and Mystery Man have a relationship because the book gives us all about Alan Cumberpatch. Maybe it comes up later, but as for right now, we know that he's a person of interest. Let's just say Alan Cumberpatch is a person of interest. I want to know who has the memoir, the unpublished memoir. A lot happened in 2 years. They weren't married that long, Bawana. If I want to say, I don't want to misquote, they got married. They were not married that too. Because all of this affidavit is happening in 1920, 1919. I think it's December. Let me double check. I think it's the December 25th. When did they marry? Marcus, he marries December of 1919, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. He marries Amy Ashwood. Why is it showing me Y'all drop it in the box if y'all have it quicker than I do. I don't know why this is taking me so long right now. If I'm not mistaken, it's 1919. It's in the other book that I'm not. So by this time, he's already been in America and he's making a name for himself. He decides that he's not going back. Yeah, it's December of 1919. He decides that he's not going back to Jamaica because America is more progressive and willing to hear out his ideas. And he wanted to start a part here, and they just wanted him to stay on as the president. And he decides, bro, I ain't going back. He's not married, not even 2 years he married to Amy. And because if he married 1919 and they doing affidavits in 1920, they're not married that long. So we're going to come back and continue to read. I don't see anyone coming up to the mic, so I'm going to go ahead and wind down. Yeah, definitely. Leaders are not exempt from real life, And as we can see, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, National Hero of Jamaica, he was a man, right? He had ideals. He was willing to push it forward. He was willing to speak to the public, but he also had his public struggles and sometimes a lot of the leaders, and I've said this before, and definitely thank you, Fever, smash the like button. A lot of the leaders who want to have this colossal effect, this effect on the people, they have not necessarily dealt with their own, like they say today, shadow work. They haven't dealt with their own inner issues, right? And so a lot of what they want to see materialize for the greater public is so oftentimes things that they themselves are struggling with. This is just an observation. And somehow, some way, achieving it for the collective kind of feels like achieving it for the self. But the problem is when you step away from the spotlight, the reality is you sold the idea to the people. It doesn't necessarily mean it worked for you. And in the case of Marcus, it didn't, because at the end, the feeling, and it's interesting, in the end, the feeling of destitution and depression that Amy felt when she was pleading to him from Panama, if allegedly, is similar to what he felt when he was left in England. And we'll read that at another time, when Amy number 2 leaves him, right? And she goes back to Jamaica and he's now left in England, right? So the similar thing, it kind of cyclically, it kind of came around again, that him and his Amy is separated, and somebody is affected adversely because of that separation. Yep. Yeah, it gives us a bigger look on the person. And so when you bring it up again, it's like now you can see the person as a whole being, and not this card paper cutout, this statue that they make, this Black History Month comes and it's just this very yes, this person did this and this, and let's move on to the other person. Like, the person is not a person. Like, you just have these little bullet points that you get to review about the person and then move on. That's not realistic. That's not realistic. They did this and that. Both things can be true. They had great aspirations and they failed in a personal space. They had great aspirations and such happened. Both things can be true. Oh, we gonna get there, Leah. Leah says, I wonder why Marcus got with another Amy. We are gonna get there. So thank everybody for tuning in and for rocking with me, as my voice was a little scratchy in the beginning, but you see, clear up a little bit now. And yeah, if you missed any of the episodes, definitely feel free. I have it in a playlist, so you can go ahead and catch up. So until next time, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Sorry for the coming on so late for those across the pond, but you don't know. Catch me upon the replay and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Blessings to everybody, and we will talk again next time. I don't know, so I have to boogie out with a little commercial and thing. You know what? I'm going to show you guys what's coming. I've been working behind the scenes. Let me see. This is a little bit of the wraps, the head wraps. That's coming. They're not out yet. But This was when I first demoed them. So let's check it out.
Jamaica woman, I'm a strong Jamaica woman.
So that's the raps. Those are the full raps. Definitely I'm gonna have different styles as well. So for those who ask me about the raps, I'm definitely working on it. So stay tuned for that. Everybody have a blessed day.
Real quick, this is Amuna, author and storyteller, and I have a new release available on Amazon because I love writing and reading stories. This is a Caribbean American tale about love and culture. We have a young girl named Jackie, and she gets into it with a lot of frenemies and some other people that's trying to take away our rights. So go ahead and check out Island Twist, available on Amazon today. Now let's get back to the story.